I'm Julia Child. Bon appetit.
Her size, her shape, her voice, her laugh, her way of breathing, it's so familiar to us.
Before she changed the world, Julia Child was just an American living in France.
I'm going to try to flip this thing over now, which is a rather daring thing to do.
She came onto television in, 63 or something, and already fully formed. She was 50 years old. There weren't going to be any changes made. And I can relate.
She changed everything. Before her, it was frozen food and can openers and marshmallows.
Don't knock marshmallows.
Screen legend Meryl Streep plays cooking legend Julia Child in Julie and Julia.
Oh, that didn't go very well. But you see, when I flipped it, I didn't have the courage.
She's so adorable.
It's partly based on Julia Child's memoir, My Life in France.
But you can always put it together. And you're alone in the kitchen. Who's to see?
I did get My Life in France on tape and listened to that.
I'm Julia Child. Bon appetit.
She wasn't reading it, but I listened to the book. And her voice is so familiar to us that hearing her words read, I could imagine her saying this.
Oh, c'est vite.
Oui, c'est les meilleures vites du monde.
So charming.
She wrote so directly and so without affect, just the way she was, that personality came through.
Rehearsal.
It's another completely different character for Meryl Streep and another completely different accent.
What should I do, you think?
About what?
I don't really want to go back into government work. You know, but shouldn't I find something to do?
I don't have a hard time picking up how people speak. I have a hard time not picking up how people speak.
Wives don't do anything here. That's not me. This is not me. I saw a notice on the bulletin board at the embassy. Hat-making lessons.
My children always make fun of me on the telephone if I'm asking, 411, and they go, was that operator Jamaican? Because you were totally talking with a Jamaican accent. And I'm not aware of it, I just, oh yes, I start talking that way. I can't help it.
You like hats?
I do. So I picked up her voice patterns, but really the way that she spoke on her television show later was different than the way she spoke in interviews and in person.
What is it that you really like to do?
Eat.
I like to do. I know. And we are so good at it. Look at you. Now, how
growing
good you
in
are.
front of you.
So I wanted to get more of, she heightened it a little bit for the TV show.
Were you spies?
No. Yes. No.
You were in the Office of Strategic Services and you were not spies?
I was only a file clerk.
It's called Julie and Julia, but it could easily have been called Paul and Julia.
He did. He single-handedly won the war.
Well, it was central. It was central to her life. And part of the thing that's so touching to me is I think she was someone, she married late. I think she was reconciled to being single. She was 6'2", as her sister was reconciled to this. The sister was 6'4", Dorothy. In those days, that was unusual. And I think they both came to marriage late, and gratefully and happily that they found soulmates. And I think, they were dedicated to those men.
Julia, you are the butter to my bread and the breath to my life. I love you, darling girl. Happy Valentine's Day.
And it's easy to do with old Stanley because he is such a scholar and a lover and just a wonderful urbane, sophisticated person. And I think that's very like what I've read Paul Child was like.
Why don't I go to cooking school?
Bonjour!
And now Meryl Streep has cooked up another award-winning performance in Julie and Julia.
You should have seen the way those men looked at me.
But then they discovered I was fearless.
You have no real talent for cooking.